what I wanted to say earlier is I find it funny that in this same time frame, according to the evolutionary story, where you have these living fossil representatives, you have, again, according to evolutionary philosophy, you have a small primate-like creature evolving into a monkey or ape-like creature, and then eventually, into the Australopithecines, Homo habilis, and then eventually into modern man. In all that same time frame, those massive changes, increases in phenotypic complexity, but yet these living fossil representatives just stay the same. You pointed to alligators, obviously these mammal representatives, this 8 to 10, they're just staying the same, relatively no change. But in that same time frame, you're getting a small primate-like creature into a human.
Now that is an amazing point, and I'm thank you for bringing that up, because I didn't even remember to bring that up. Yeah, if evolution is true, how could you have the 200 living fossils that I just showed you? Why wouldn't they have all changed so dramatically? Why do 200 animals and plants not change at all for 65 million years? Mm-hmm. That should raise your question if you believe in evolution. I know you wouldn't change it based on that, but that should. Right. Why is there so much stasis? And by the way, not to extend the argument, but I would extend that argument all the way down to the bottom layer, which is called the Cambrian, or the one below that was called the Ediacaran. I can show you fossils from the Ediacaran and Cambrian layers that look just like the modern animals. And they're so stunningly similar. And then you say, well, that's supposed to be 600 million years difference, and yet they don't look any different. Right. Thank you for bringing this up. I'm so glad, because this was an important point I really left out. By the way, I wrote up this whole talk this afternoon, so it's very unsophisticated.
No, I would call it sophisticated and mind-blowing. And any objective thinker, I think it'll be effective. It's very strong. And to fellow Christians, brothers and sisters, this should, at the very least, increase their faith, because a lot of people are just simply not shown this. I have 3 kids, and we do have several dinosaur books, and we like going through them. My son loves dinosaurs. And do you see this information depicted? No, it's always the age of dinosaurs, and it's always those very specific plants, very specific creatures, with none of these mammal species represented, or even the living fossils. And so this is a very essential, as I said at the beginning, program, Carl. And I wanted to point this comment out. This comes from a frequent guest, Paul Price. He's done a ton of great work. He's written some great articles for creation.com. And so he's being sarcastic here, because when it comes to stasis, evolution, they can explain up, down, black, white. They've got an explanation for everything. It's not really falsifiable in a way, because evolution is change, but it's also stasis. So to the evolution, it's all consistent. Well, these organisms didn't have to change because the environment was suitable to that organism. So they could stay the same for millions of years. But then when it comes to this small primate-like population over here, it was suitable for them to change into, modern human over time. Carl, what would be a good response to that, to an evolutionist that would invoke that argument?
Well, by the way, I want to thank Paul for the comment. I thought he was real. I thought he was an evolutionist. Yeah. And it is a beautiful comment. And you can't see, as you said, evolution, if it's true, you should be able to falsify it. But every time we come up with a falsification, the fossil record doesn't show it. You can't start life, from chemicals and all. Then there's always another story to be added. So you can't ever falsify it. The belief in evolution is like a religious belief. And the high priest is the professor at Harvard, and the Pope is like, Carl Sagan or something like that. Yeah. That is the religion. And when you have religion, you ignore everything else, because this is your faith. And I get it. But at some point, you can fall off the religion wagon of evolution, just like Christians fall off the religion wagon of creation, of, Christianity. And at some point you say, I'm going to give it up. I'm going to slip into the world and become a creationist. You can do it.
Yeah.
I believe it. I believe you can do it.
And it's fun. There's so much to study. We don't have to hold to the pseudoscience of evolution. And so you mentioned one thing, and I thought this was amazing. I thought of this as soon as you began presenting. because the evolutionary community, and they're largely right in this, they'll say that the gold standard of science is making testable and falsifiable predictions, and then testing those predictions and seeing if they're true or not. And so you pointed out that if creation is true, we should find modern animals and dinosaurs in the same geologic layers. And the question is that what we find? You made that prediction, correct me if I'm wrong, before investigating and doing your experiments, and then you found that to be true. You confirmed that expectation. Is that right, Carl?
Yes. I made a bigger prediction too, but I felt like I couldn't pull off the test. And I said my prediction really was that there would be modern animals or plants in every layer, but that would mean I would just still be running around the globe for another 15 years, and I could never do it because you'd have to photograph everything, and it could be the comparisons for all. I just said, I'm just going to do dinosaur era because it's simple. That just everybody agrees that dinosaurs is an old time according to evolution scientists. But here's a trade secret that modern animals are in every layer. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that, but it's true.